Hey everyone, welcome to my channel Undercover Comics, coming to you from Seoul, South Korea. This is Comic Haul and Review number 4. I'm going to avoid major spoilers and give you my general review and rating of each comic in this poll. Each comic will be rated from 1 to 10, but I never give a 0, and I hardly ever give a 1 or a 10. I'm not an expert, I only have my preferences and my opinions, and I will use them to critique these comics. Each comic will be critiqued based on art, story, and impact. Art will include drawing style, color use, composition, lettering, and paneling, while story includes entertainment value, logical flow, dialogue, and unpredictability. Impact basically means, was the comic necessary, does it make me want to keep reading, and does it leave a lasting impression? Finally, I will summarize each issue with 2 words. So let's get started. Today's comic pool will exclusively be indie comics. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first comic of today will be Excellence number 1 from Image Comics. Now this is a story, a coming-of-age story, that explores nepotism, legacy, social class, elitism, masculinity, gender roles, and most importantly, mental health. It also explores race, but in a very nuanced way. I think this book was awesome. It centers around a young sorcerer trying to find his place and gain acceptance in a secret order, but when tragedy strikes, he realizes the status quo really isn't his thing, and he decides to go rogue. The story is a bit curious because it seems that he's allowed to break the rules to help certain people, but he's not allowed to break the rules to help himself or his own. I'm not totally sure where this book is going, but I'm very interested, and I will reserve further comment until I read the 3rd issue. For this issue, art 7, story 8.5, impact 9. If you are African American or a Black American, you definitely need to read this book. It is very relevant to you, which brings me to my 2 final words: excellence in 2 words, relevant and important. That is Excellence number 1. From Titan Comics, we have Blade Runner number 1. I'm going to start with a disclaimer. I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, the original and 2049. I think 2049 was super legit, like movie of the year shit. With that said, I can't for the life of me figure out how a movie set in Los Angeles has no minorities. The flick takes place in futuristic Los Angeles and is draped in Asian decor. In fact, Deckard lives in a Korean bank, yet there are no Asians in the whole movie. I don't understand that. I'm from California and I live in Seoul, South Korea. Believe me, they notice, and it's offensive, guys. Figure it out. So with that said, I'm happy that Michael Green finally stopped snubbing the Asians and made them an integral role instead of just using their decor and their aesthetics as backdrop. This comic is a cool detective story with good art. This issue, basically, blade running is a slow business right now because replicants' populations have declined. Of course, scarcity defines the value of a commodity, so the collector's market is flourishing. Consequently, it has become more profitable for blade runners to supply the market than to submit replicants for retirement. Basically, corruption from top to bottom. I like this comic a lot. I'm going to reserve further judgment and commentary until the 3rd issue. But for now, art, 7.5. Some frames just seem not so well composed. It didn't really seem like it was the same artist. The story, 7.5. I like the premise, but it's a typical neo-noir so far. And impact, 8.5. I will read the 2nd and 3rd copies, absolutely. This is canon, and it looks good for Amazon or Netflix. Looks great, actually. That is Blade Runner number 1. The next comic up is Canto number 1 from IDW. Now, this is the 2nd print. I missed the boat on the first one. I jumped on a little bit later. This is just a cute story. It's about love, loyalty, and sacrifice. It's a fantasy adventure about a man named Canto who goes on a hero's journey to save his girl. That's all of it. It's a kid's story. It's all ages. Art, 7.5. I think the portrait work is absolutely gorgeous. The portrait work is super legit. The artist, not a game. Not a game. Story, 6.5. There's not much to it. Pretty simple. Impact, 8. I think this book has a lot of buzz behind it. Again, that first copy is going to be very difficult to find. I think it's got some legs on it. This could be something that turns into an animated series or a mini of sorts, and it looks good. Canto in 2 words, cute, but for the moment, maybe a little overrated. I'll have to wait and see the second and third issue, and then I'll make my judgment from there. But right now, good. It's a good book. The next issue up is Last Stop on the Red Line #1 from Dark Horse Comics. This is not what I was expecting. Reading the title and looking at the cover made me believe this is like a YA mystery murder, and it is to a certain extent, but it's so much more. It's supernatural, it's funny, it's well-paced. I think you should check it out if you get a chance. Art, 8. Story, 8. Impact, 8. I want you to be as surprised as I was, so I'm going to leave this alone. Last Stop on the Red Line. Final words, solid and unexpected. And I seem to be running out of space here on my display holder, so I'm going to move these comics off and we're going to keep going. The next comic up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #50. Now this is a key issue. If you don't know what happens in this issue, I won't spoil it for you. But at the end of the day, there's a battle between Splinter and Shredder. Winner takes all. It was legit. This is a great issue. The artwork is fantastic. I think this is the best TMNT artist. And I'll leave it at that. So art, 8.5. Again, this is the best TMNT artist in the game right now. And story, 8. Impact, 9.5. This is a game changer. So TMNT #50 in 2 words, unexpected. Pretty damn gangster. Next up on this poll is TMNT #96 from IDW, City at War. Basically just call this set tripping, because basically throughout this entire series, they're just rival gangs at war. There's turf wars between rival crews. The Turtles are on the ropes. Jenny's still alive, but she's not 100% recovered yet. Splinter and the Clan are still putting in that work, and the team is divided. In this issue, Jenny and Casey Jones come face to face for the first time since Jenny's incident, and Casey doesn't look too excited. So in 2 words, solid, and also a builder. The next comic up on this poll is Resonant #1 from Vault Comics. This is a story of family, compassion, purpose, and survival. In this issue, a single father must go on a supply run to get medical supplies for his kid. The family lives in isolation, but depends on one another for support and survival. The story was good, wasn't amazing, so I give it a 7.5 for art. Story, 7. Impact, 6.5. I didn't need to keep reading this. It was a good story, but I didn't need to keep reading it. I mean, tell me this dude doesn't look like Idris Elba, though. I mean, seriously, though. I feel like a lot of these comic books are, like, targeting specific actors and actresses. Like, Excellence, he looks like Michael B. Jordan. This dude looks like Idris Elba. There's nothing that anyone can tell me that would explain to me or make me feel that this is not Idris Elba. That is him. Not even a question, man. But, again, art 7.5, story 7, and impact 6.5. I want this to get better. I feel like this has got, potential. But at this point, I didn't have to read the next issue. I didn't have to. And that is Resonant #1. The final book on this poll is Collapsor #1 from DC's Young Animal. I am the only person in the world who's reading this book, apparently. Like, I don't find anyone talking about this book. I didn't expect much, but man, I thought it was really good. I must admit, the premise is a bit of a turnoff, but it was actually well done. You should give it a shot if you're looking for something original, something funny, something kind of relatable. Art, 7. Story, 7.5. Impact, 8. In 2 words, surprising and wacky. Give this a shot. Give it a shot. Don't let the premise throw you off, because it threw me off a bit. I checked it out on Comixology, and I was expecting the worst. I was expecting to hate read this book because I thought it was going to be funny, and it turned out to be actually not bad. So check this out. I'm giving, as you can see with my scores here, I'm giving this a pretty high ranking. I mean, better, way better than I expected. Maybe that's why it's such a high rating. Maybe it was my expectations were so low that I was surprised, and I think that may be boosting these points. Perhaps, I'm not sure. Read it. Let me know what you think. We'll keep it pushing. All right. With that said, I'm going to wrap this up. If you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them in the comment section below. And please like and subscribe. Until next time, peace.